I'm Ryan with Propelio. Today we got Randy Quay from Homeland Properties. If you don't know who that is and you live in Dallas, then you are not in the business. Randy is the guy for co-wholesaling, networking, properties, everything. Randy, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
So just to dive right in, what is co-wholesaling?
So basically, if you have a property that you want to wholesale, and maybe you don't have a good buyer's list, maybe you have 50 people that you might sell the property to, and you've tried to sell it to them, nobody's biting. If you call somebody like me, then I've got a huge buyer's list, and we can basically partner together on it, get it out to over 50,000 people, and if it's a decent deal, somebody is going to buy it. So it's basically just partnering on a wholesale property and expanding the network of people that sees it over and above what you, as a, trying to sell it yourself, might be able to expose it to.
So, when I look at one of your deals, and we were talking about this a minute ago, it comes to the email. I can trust your numbers. So if Joe Schmo sends you a deal to co-wholesale, who's running those numbers? Are you taking Joe Schmo's numbers and running it and just blasting it, or you or one of your team going out to the property? Like, how do you evaluate that house?
Right, yeah. No, that's a good question, because I don't want to burn my list. I don't want to send things out to my list that aren't good deals. And so I get properties sent to me literally every day, probably 2 or 3 a day, every single day. And I run the numbers myself, because basically it's when I push it out, it's my deal. Mm-hmm. So I'm the one that's standing behind the numbers, and I've gotten a lot of things sent to me that weren't good deals. So I won't work those at all, because my goal is not only to get the deal sold, but to sell it to somebody that actually has a chance of making money.
Right.
And will come back to me again later on and buy another property. So I definitely run the numbers. And a lot of times I will go out to the property and assess the repairs and things like that, because people are notorious for overlooking things, mm-hmm. or just pretending like, oh, that didn't really matter. Or, did you get up on the roof? You said the roof was fine, but did you get up on the roof? Well, no, I didn't get on the roof. Or how do you know the roof's good?
The foundation's fine.
Right. They're taking pictures and it's slanted. I'm like, well, wait a minute, that was probably the foundation off a little bit. So things like that. So I want to be able to stand behind what I'm sending out. And so I definitely run numbers. I like to check the properties. I like to make sure that what I'm sending out is something that somebody can actually make money on.
So, is there a mentorship type role there? Like, hey, I brought you a house, run the numbers, and is there feedback, or is it kind of like, nah, that's not good, or sure, I'll send it? What kind of communication is there between you and the original?
So, and again, a lot of that depends on who's bringing me the deal. If it's somebody that I've worked with on and on, over and over and over, and I know what they're, I know that they know what they're doing, mm-hmm. then it's not as much of a mentorship. But I get calls literally every day from people who are like, hey, I got my first property. What do I do with it? And so, yeah, there's definitely a mentorship process where I say, well, okay, where is it? What is it like? What do you think is the best thing about it? What repairs does it need? And I walk them through the whole thing. So, and I ask them, how did you find the deal? And so I try to give them feedback on, is it a good deal? How did they find it? How can we position it? And things like that. So, and I get people contacting me a lot that they say, well, I think I have a property, and this is the scenario. What should I do with it? Mm-hmm. And so I talk to them about, well, what do you think the repairs are? Have you actually been out to the property? Did you check the foundation? Did you get up on the roof? And so when I get some of these questions answered, then I know more about, well, how far along is this person? How much help do they need? And some folks I will help, and some that are just honestly completely clueless, I say, look, you need to go. I'm not a mentor, right. So you'll find a mentor, but there is some mentorship going on there.
Are you at least getting lunch out of this?
Sure,
or coffee. Like, hey, let me buy you lunch.
Yeah, coffee. I go for coffee because, honestly, during the middle of the day, I rarely stop for food.
Right.
It's usually in my truck from one place to the next. So
I clearly stop for food.
Yeah,
self-deprecating fat joke.
Yeah.
So, going back to, you're talking about, I have my first deal, what do I do now? Like, other than that mentorship in that lifeline of using someone like Randy Quay, Like, why does somebody do that other than, oh, I have 50 people on my list and you have 5,000 or 50,000 on your list?
Well,
is it simply just a numbers game?
I mean, a lot of it is a numbers game, but I'll look at something and go, look, you're not asking enough for it. We can get more for it if you push it through me because you've missed this, or this is an area, me based, based on my knowledge of the area. I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years. So based on my knowledge of a specific area, I'm like, well, things are transitioning here. We've got some upside. I don't think you're asking enough for it. And so I can actually build in some value in terms of what we can get out of the deal sometimes. And so, I mean, there are things like that I can bring to the table.
Other than the numbers game and having a large buyer's list and possibly being able to increase the value of the ask, like is there any other benefits of using a co-wholesale, the wholesale strategy?
Well, in many cases, I think it can take the property from not being able to be sold at all to be able to being sold. I mean, frankly, I can't tell you how many times people have brought properties to me where they've tried to sell it, they can't. And they bring it to me and I'm able to sell it in 24 hours. And they're like, holy crap.
Right.
Next time I get one, you're the first person I'm calling. I'm not going to waste my time trying to sell it to a very finite list or finite group of people when I can bring it to you. We can sell it for more quicker, and everybody's happy.
So speaking of that, like you were just bringing up the repeat business side of things, like how many people, like on average, you've got the new people and you've got the return business. Like, is there an equal number, or is it just like 80% is my repeats and every once in a while 20% is the new people?
It's almost the other way around.
Okay.
It's almost 80% are new people.
Okay.
And 20% are the guys that I've known forever. And there's always a balance there because in this business, there's a lot of churn and burn. There's a lot of people that think they want to do it. They saw the HD TV and they're like, oh, I can make money doing this. No problem. It's easy. And they get in, they do one property and they don't make any money. So there's always going to be those guys that come in, get out quickly. And so you have to always be filling the funnel. It's just like a sales funnel. You gotta be putting new bodies in at top. And you're always going to have some guys that have been there forever, and maybe I don't talk to them for 6 months, and then they come back to me and go, hey, got another deal for you. Hey, got another deal for you. So it's a blend. It's a blend of both. But it has slowly, as the market has exploded, it has become more newbies than the old guys. And, if something changes again, it's probably going to retract, and the newbies are going to jump ship, and we may go back to the old ways.
So how big of a role does like networking play? Because I know you have a huge buyer's list.
Right.
Does that kind of feed the funnel of people potentially want to sell a house as well? Or are you going to all the social hours, all the networking, all the events, and like, oh, you're that Randy Quay?
Again, it's a mixture of you have, when you're running a business, you can't just say, I'm just going to do this.
Right.
You are the business. I mean, I am the business. So I've got to promote myself in many ways. One of them being here. I mean, this is going to help promote me. So, but I do think that the number of properties that I send out, and when I post them to 20 different places, that gets propagated. I mean, it feeds on itself. And I'll send an email to Joe Schmo, and he'll send it to his brother, and his brother will send it to his sister, and then those people get on my list. So that in a way is networking, but that was that's more generic, or what's the word? Just feeds on itself. So
okay.
But I do go to some of
the
I do go to some of the networking things, but every time I go, it's like, oh, I've never met you, but I've been getting your emails for years.
Right.
So it's fine, and I don't love doing that, but you have to get out and you have to promote yourself. So it's a mixture of those.
Well, it seems like I get emails, because I'm on your list, daily. I've got, hey, I've got a new property, or hey, I just sold this property. About how many are you doing a month right now?
Right. So I typically sell, all right, so we started back in 07, I started doing heavy into wholesaling. And I'd say literally from 07 to now, so 10 years, I average 5 to 10 houses a month every single month.
This is before co-wholesaling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's gone from 100% my own properties to now probably 60 to 70% co-wholesaling.
Right.
And so that's transitioned over. And now it's probably even maybe 10 to 15 properties a month.
Okay.
And it's pretty consistent. One month might be 8, next month might be 14. So, you know, it's a pretty good average. And, you know, of course, there's times a year that slows down and speeds up. You know, around the Christmas, it slows down a little bit. And right before summer, it spikes, and summer spikes, things like that.
So I think I know the answer to this question,
Okay.
but like, how many people on your team? Do you have somebody going to the properties to evaluate? Because I've personally seen you at a house before.
Right.
Just you're the only one. It was like an open house situation, and you were the only one with a clipboard and a tape measure actually doing the due diligence. But that was a few years ago. To do the 15 houses a month seems like you would need a pretty solid team behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it's really come down to is I've got a few guys that will bring me deals on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gotten really good at making sure they have the right information, because they know I'm going to ask. Did you actually look at the foundation? Did you actually get up on the roof and look at it? Because
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've asked someone, how's the roof? Oh, it's good. Did you get up on it? No. Well, how do you know it's good? You know, so things like that. So I've trained some bird dogs basically to go out and do those types of things. And so
now are they bringing you their co-wholesales, or are they working you for you?
No, they're
okay.
It's just me.
So it's just you.
It's just me.
So if I'm a newbie and I bring you a deal and you don't know me yet, I'm meeting
your
you
paces.
at the house to look at it.
Basically, yeah. And go, look, all right.
So when do you sleep? Or is that why you drink coffee all day long?
Yeah. That's the no-dose addiction that I have, right?
So going back to from 07 to now, you're a heavy wholesaler, you're doing your own marketing, you're doing your own campaigns. What was the tipping point that said, hey, let's start doing co-wholesales? Because you don't just overnight go, I have a 50,000 strong or 50,000 plus strong buyers list, and hey, everybody in the community, bring me your stuff.
Right.
That doesn't just happen overnight.
No, it wasn't intentional. You know, it just kind of happened. So, like, every time I sell a house, I send out an email that says sold.
Right.
So I get people calling me going, wow, you sent that this morning, and now it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you sold it already. I've got this property I've had for 2 weeks. I can't sell it. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, I guess. And so it just kind of morphed into that. And I didn't really mean for it to, but when you see an opportunity, you're like, well, duh, take advantage. And so a lot of the way I look at it is, I used to do a lot of my own, and I still do some of my own advertising, but I used to spend a lot more on it. Well, I thought, well, why don't I just use their advertising?
Right.
And I'll be the marketing arm that's on the backside for the properties to get them sold. And so, you know, it's worked. And so, and now in every email I send, there's a link in there that says, if you need help selling a property, click here. You click on there and you there's a few questions, fill it out, send it to me. I get 2 or 3 of those every single day. So, yeah, it just kind of morphed into that.
Well, I mean, I think it's brilliant because if anybody in the DFW marketplace knows, right now it is so competitive to find and buy a house.
Yeah.
And if you are one of those individuals, no, it's not. I'm buying and such. Well, don't tell anybody because everybody else is it's like sharks in the water.
Oh, yeah.
But on the backside, yeah, there's a couple players that are doing the co-wholesaling, but a lot of them, you know, you get that email and you don't even read it anymore because the stuff they're sending is crap.
Yeah.
And you know, I can honestly say, even if I'm not in a buying mentality, I still open up to see what you have to offer. Just like, oh, that's cool, you got one over there. Oh, that's what's going on over in that area.
I mean, I think it's super important to make sure. I reject a lot of things that come my way, a lot of houses, because there's nothing there. I mean, that's why I look at now don't say I always go out and physically look at it, but I do go look at a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But I will reject a lot of houses because they're just, again, my philosophy is that end, you know, the rehabber or the landlord that's going to buy it or the guy that's going to buy it and sell it and carry a note, if they can't make money, I'm not going to push it out there. I'm not going to burn my list.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's important.
But like we were just saying, it seems like a lot of people are just, if they can get an email out, they're going to email out. They burn the list.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this 17 years, so you can't do that this long and it won't work. I mean, nobody will. I look at my open rates on my emails, you know. So if my open rate goes down to 1%, I'm like, I'm in trouble.
Right. So say I live anywhere other than DFW, because if you live in DFW and you're trying to build or you're trying to be the top dog of co-wholesaling, you're out of luck. This guy's he's got the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
But say I live in a different market,
Sure.
like other than just falling into it and seizing the opportunity, what if somebody wanted to take direct, actionable plans to be the Randy Quay of Houston?
I mean, that's a good question, and I've thought about doing that myself. I don't know that, I subscribe to the philosophy that you get out what you put into something. And so I do feel like what I have here with Homeland Properties is something that I built starting back in 01 when we were buying, fixing, selling, and we did about 150 retail flips over the first 7-8 years. Mm-hmm. Just my ability to analyze and figure out what needs to be done, estimated costs for repairs, and knowing areas and knowing, okay, this part of town is improving, this part of town is getting worse, things like that. And so to go to another market, I'm not sure that there's necessarily a plug and play way to do that. I think you have to go there, kind of immerse yourself in the market, figure out who the players are, figure out what's going on in the market, and yeah, there are certain things you have to do. You have to be able to consistently build your buyers list, and you have to have processes to do that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. You could say you have to build your buyers list.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? How do you do that?
Well, from the very first day that we ever bought our first property in 2001, I bought it from another wholesaler. I put his name in my buyers list. Every single person I come in contact with, I ask them, can I put you on my buyers list? Mm-hmm. And so it's a constant thing. Every property that I send out goes to a bunch of different websites, and I get calls from those. They are not on my buyers list until they see it on XYZ website, and they contact me and go, hey, I'm interested in the house. 90% of the time I've already got a buyer for it because they go very quickly, but I say, hey, look, I can add you to my list, and for properties just like this, the next one, I guarantee I'll probably have one out tomorrow, and we'll put you on the list. And so it's an organic thing where it just kind of builds on itself. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are 20 different things you can put ads on Craigslist. You can swap lists with people, although that's a sketchy thing because you need to get permission to add people onto your list. So mm-hmm. that can be a sketchy thing to do, and be careful with that. But I don't want to give away my secret sauce, but I probably have 10 different bullet points of things. I've got an assistant that she works on it every single day, building my buyers list.
So other than the organic of just every person you come in contact with, whether that be the CEO of a company or the secretary of the company, putting on there, and you've been doing this 17 years, I mean, I could just see where it's like, okay, well, this month I added 10 people, this month I added 15 people. At what point did you go, oh wow, I've got 50,000 people? Like, was it 8 years in? Was it, because it's not an overnight thing. Like, how long did it take you to go from just, going like that to that long tail of just popping up, that spike?
Well, and it was kind of a roller coaster too, because at some point you go in and you go, okay, I've got 5,000 people that have never opened a thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you kind of need to purge those off the list because they're not doing anything. They're just taking up space. I'm not sure I have a good answer. It just one day I think I looked up and I went, wow, last month I had 11,000, now I have 14,000. I'm not even sure how I got there.
Right.
And now I've got 57,000 people on the list. But and a lot of people have big lists, but are they buying? Are they doing anything?
Right.
So proof's in the pudding.
So what do you think is the most important thing, most important aspect of wholesaling? Is it the buyer's list, or is it the property evaluation, or anything in between?
I would say if I had to pick one, it is the buyer's list.
Okay.
But it's also knowing what not to send, because you do not want to burn that list.
Well, yeah, because I know there's several companies in the DFW marketplace. I'm not going to say who or who. Or
we all know who they are.
If it's a company or if it's a person, whatever, there's several that you if you're a new investor, you don't know that they're full of it, but everybody else is like, they just chuckle in the background. But how do you build that trust? Is it just being consistent, or is there a strategy, or is it just like, hey, I'm a handshake kind of guy?
I think it's just no BS.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if somebody contacts me and says, what do you think about this? I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I can sell that, no problem. I can't sell them and say, look, you got nothing here, brother.
Right.
You know, and this is why. And so, but keep plugging away.
Right.
Keep getting out there. It's not like you won't be able to find deals, but this isn't one.
But also, can I add you to my buyers list?
Absolutely. Yeah. So they're probably already on my buyers list. So.
Oh, that's true.
But so the next deal they run across, they know, well, this guy isn't going to feed me full of crap. He's going to tell me what the real deal is.
So you're not afraid to tell somebody just because you have the contract doesn't mean it's worth it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
There you go. Well, is there any other parting advice you could give to somebody, like I said, not in the DFW marketplace for being a co-wholesaler? Or if you want to invite competition, you can do that too.
I would just say, you know, just be true to yourself. Don't do something just because somebody tells you it's a good thing to do. Think for yourself. And if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't seem right, don't do it.
So if one of our viewers want to do business with you, they want to be on your buyer's list, or maybe they have a property, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure, just they can call me, they can email me. I can give that to them now, or if we're going to put that up on the screen.
It's going to be on the screen. You can give them to them now, all the above.
Yeah, just put it on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be on the screen, links below, how to get a hold of Randy here. Thanks again, Homeland Properties, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.